Good morning and thank you for choosing Fox 10 News on this Sunday morning. Our time is 7 o'clock and it is September 27th. Thank you for joining us. We're going to check in first with meteorologist Matt Barrett for a look at our Sunday forecast, and pretty foggy out there to start our day, Matt.
Yeah, in spots definitely some fog out there here to begin with, so you're going to have to watch out for that, but not for too long. It'll burn off fairly soon. Let's go ahead and check things out as they are right now. And talking about that fog, let's get that right on up with your visibility numbers. It's actually improving. It was down to a quarter mile in Mobile at the airport a little bit earlier. It looks like that is beginning to improve, but still some pretty decent fog in parts of West Mobile out farther into the county. But a lot of us not dealing with too much fog, so it seems to be more of a Mobile County thing than anything else right now. Temperature-wise, 67 in Wilmer is the coolest spot I could find. 69 in Mobile, 71 Evergreen, 72 Crestview. Still a very muggy and warm 78 degrees in Destin, Pensacola, Lillian, and Dauphin Island right now. So a lot of humidity right along the coastline, making things a bit more warm and sticky here this morning. And a couple of very light showers here across parts of Baldwin County moving into Escambia County. So some very, very light rain here in a couple of spots. So we're going to see a little bit more rain today than what we've seen last day or so. So we'll get a little more shower action. You see the heaviest stuff, though, is going to go head over towards Panama City. We're going to get a few little showers here. And you'll see that here on the Futurecast, mainly off to the east. So east to 65, then really even more into the Panhandle. It's going to be the best chance for rain here today. The rest of us should be pretty much dry here through our Sunday. Let's go ahead and check out that planner through the next 10 hours. You can see these temperatures warming up through the 70s to the 80s, mid 80s at lunchtime. We'll top out in the mid 80s, so it'll be a bit warm and toasty this afternoon with heat index values right around 90 degrees out there today. So summer's got a little bit of a hold on us still, but that will change. We have cold fronts, plural, next week. I'll talk more about that coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Matt, thank you. President Trump nominates federal appeals court judge Amy Coney Barrett to fill the Supreme Court seat left vacant by Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg following her death. President Trump hopes to have the Senate confirm the nomination before the presidential election. Fox News correspondent David Spun is at the Supreme Court with more on the announcement.
She is a woman of unparalleled achievement, towering intellect, sterling credentials, and unyielding loyalty to the Constitution, Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
President Trump nominating Amy Coney Barrett for the Supreme Court. The president making the announcement in the White House Rose Garden on Saturday. If confirmed, Justice Barrett will make history as the first mother of school-age children ever to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court. Barrett is a 48-year-old mother of 7 children. She is a Louisiana native from New Orleans, but serves as a circuit judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 7th Circuit based in Chicago. Barrett taught law at her alma mater Notre Dame and clerked for the Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia in 1998.
If the Senate does me the honor of confirming me, I pledge to discharge the responsibilities of this job to the very best of my ability.
President Trump's selection comes just over a week after the death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. If the Senate confirms Barrett, she will occupy the seat vacated by the late Justice Ginsburg, who died of pancreatic cancer. Barrett would be the 3rd successful Supreme Court nomination for the president, following Justices Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh, and the 5th woman to serve on the Supreme Court in U.S. history. That's if she's confirmed by the U.S. Senate.
Her record also makes clear, if she's confirmed, that women's reproductive freedom will be at risk. Roe v. Wade itself will be at risk.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is pushing to hold a formal vote before the election November 3rd. At the Supreme Court, David Spunt, Fox News.
Alabama Governor Kay Ivey responding to President Trump's nomination, saying in part, quote, "I eagerly anticipate Judge Barrett's confirmation, and I look forward to continuing to forge a strong relationship between President Trump and the state of Alabama during his next term." Some House Democrats plan to introduce a bill to set an 18-year term limit for Supreme Court justices, ending lifetime appointments. It's a largely symbolic response to the high-stakes battle in Congress over the Supreme Court vacancy left by late Justice Ginsburg. The legislation has no chance of passage in the Republican-led Senate. The proposal comes as Senate Republicans try to fast-track a successor to Ginsburg and preserve a conservative majority for a generation. The bill is sponsored by Democratic Congressmen Ro Khanna, Joe Kennedy III, and Don Beyer. They plan to formally introduce the bill on Tuesday. New body cam footage has been released showing the moments immediately after a Louisville police officer was shot during the raid that killed Breonna Taylor. Todd McMurtry, the attorney for John Mattingly, tweeted out the video. He says this is the raw footage shortly after Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, shot Mattingly and shows him receiving medical attention. The attorney says people call him a, quote, murderer when all he did was defend himself. Taylor was shot and killed in March when officers served a no-knock warrant at her apartment. Walker's attorney has not responded for comment. The Louisville Metropolitan Police Department says they're aware the video has surfaced. However, they will not comment because of the ongoing internal review of what happened that night. And back here at home, we're asking questions this morning about a drive-by shooting ending with a suspected shooter in the hospital. According to Mobile Police, someone opened fire at a home on Karsten Street Saturday afternoon. The homeowner returned fire, hitting one of the people in the car. The suspect is still in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Health officials warn the U.S. could see a surge of COVID-19 cases as fall and winter set in. The news comes as companies work to get approval for a vaccine. Polo Sandoval reports.
Dr. Anthony Fauci now says vaccinations could start before the end of the year.
In reality, by the time you get enough people vaccinated so that you can feel you've had an impact enough on the outbreak so that you can start thinking about maybe getting a little bit more towards normality, that very likely, as I and others have said, will be maybe the third quarter or so of 2021, maybe even into the fourth quarter. But the availability and starting vaccination could very likely start in November or December.
Fauci's comments come as the U.S. passed 7 million confirmed cases of COVID-19, according to data from Johns Hopkins University. More than 203,000 people have now been killed by the virus. Dr. Fauci also raising concerns about fighting COVID as we head into the fall and winter.
If you look at some of the super spreading type things that have occurred, almost all of them have occurred in indoor situations. You're going to have to do a lot of things indoors at a necessity of the temperature. And I'm afraid with that being the case, if we don't carefully follow the guidelines, the other guidelines, the masking, the distance, the crowds, that we may see another surge.
Case-wise, California is the first state to surpass 800,000 confirmed coronavirus cases. Despite the state's rising infections, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says the state was moving into phase 3 of reopening, allowing restaurants and bars to fully reopen. DeSantis also said that he expects the state to host a full Super Bowl by this February.
I also want to be able to show we're going to be able to host a Super Bowl in February. We expect to do a full Super Bowl, and we're going to show that we're going to be able to do that.
Good morning,
Meantime, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio announced that the city's outdoor dining will be permanent, allowing restaurants to keep using sidewalks and streets for seating. New York Deputy Mayor for Operations Laura Anglin crediting it with saving jobs and called it a lifeline for the struggling restaurant industry. About 12 states are now seeing mask usage rates above 50%, according to researchers from the University of Washington's Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation. The IHME also said more than 95,000 lives could be saved by January if 95% of Americans wore masks.
And Florida's actions to lift restaurant and bar restrictions beg the question, what will Alabama do come Friday? That's when the current safer at home order is set to expire. 50% capacity and 11 o'clock last call. It's been a huge adjustment for downtown businesses, especially those who rely on those extra late night hours. Right now, it's still unclear what Governor Ivey will decide to do. Her staff says she and Dr. Scott Harris continue to monitor Alabama's progress and will have an update before Friday.